Shalom, people. This is Brother Laz coming at you with another video, and this video won't be long. This is just kind of addendum to my message that I uploaded yesterday, talking about what do we do now that the 400 years is up. Because clearly, there's a lot of people out there saying that, because in 2019 August that the Exodus didn't happen, that this meant that everything that was put out about the 400 years was totally false. But first of all, most of the uh, people that I listened to that talked about the 400 years, the ones that I know are serious students of the Bible and the Apocrypha, and also um, believers in Jesus or Yeshua, all of them never said that, from what my understanding, that in 2019 that the Exodus was going to happen. What they did say was that once the 400 years was up, that would begin the time clock for the nations where we have been scattered and dispersed, for them to start getting judged. And indeed, we understand that even before 2019 had come about, that a lot of people, including those that were not believing that uh, black peoples in different parts of the world are the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel, that a lot of people could understand that not only was America being judged, but the world was. So it's nothing out of the ordinary that we are saying about the judgment of America, but what we're seeing now, and what I believe now, is that when and as a side note, going to the part about the Gregorian calendar and the apocrypha, the Enochian calendar, I make it simple. I believe in Occam's razor, which is the saying that the most rational and believable uh, solution is the one that you should choose. I would just say we are still in the land of our captivity. When Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel had the dream of the statue, the toes were of iron and clay, meaning the clay was being held fast by the iron, meaning that we are still being governed by them at the what word can I use? At the permission of Yah. And since he is allowing it to happen, that means that to the most part our time and everything is still being governed by the nations that we are in. Now, what Yeshua gave us when he was on earth to help us to be able to cope in these lands, because he knew we was going to be in lands governed by Caesar. He said, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and render unto Yah or God that which is God. So when we got in these lands, to the best of our ability, if Caesar was not asking us to submit to something that was not evil, that we would do it. But if he told us to submit to something that was evil, we wouldn't do it. Therefore, a lot of times our slave forefathers would fight in their captivity and try and escape and everything. But at other times, while they were on the plantations or whatever, I mean, they would do, but they I believe understood that as much as we can within the framework that we are in, we have to try to serve our Yah the best way we can. So us going by their calendar is not a contradiction, because until the the mountain that's cut with our hands smashes the toes of iron and clay and frees the clay and destroys the statue, We are going by their calendar. Our clocks, our computers, everything is set by their time. It's not set by the Enochian calendar. It's not, and that's at the will of the Father. So I'm going with 1619. I'm going with that because that's when they designated in their books, right? And so Yah said about every word that they say they're gonna be judged on, then they say it's 400 years. I'm going with that, and I'm believing that the judgment of Yah is gonna start as the 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 final judgments. Let's just say I just got through doing a video talking about the environmental damage that is being done, that is fulfilling Revelations, the 8th chapter, starting in verse 8, about the waters being contaminated and creatures in them, and the waters being made so bitter that men cannot drink them. Now, I believe there's going to be an acceleration of that, and we are already seeing the acceleration of that, just like I showed in my article about the radioactive waste falling into the Detroit River and not being reported. I showed you how in Germany they're shutting down all their nuclear reactors, but they don't know where they're gonna put the 1 million, the 28,000 cubic feet of this stuff. Right? So it's already happening now. It's starting to wrap up, and that's why I was impressed to speak that lesson on on the Sabbath. That now we must increase our prayer and our fasting and our study of the Word and coming together collectively as believers, even in those that are Hebrew and non-Hebrew, coming together because they grafted in. We all are grafted in into the natural branch, into the real tree. We are just the natural branches. So all those that are believers in Yeshua and are believers that we are the people, we got to start coming together in prayer, and we got to start submitting ourselves to Yah so he can tell us what we need to do in these days and times, because when the waters gets totally contaminated, where are we going to go? Remember Elijah? What did Elijah have to do? He had to be led by Yah to go to the brook Chebruf, Shebar, until it dried up because of the famine, and the ravens stopped bringing the bread and the food, and he had to go to Zarephath, where he was fed by a widow. And what did the Bible say about us? It said that, he, when we was in Mizraim, Egypt, he said we was in Goshen. So we gotta stop praying, y'all. Where is our Goshen? Where is our cleft in the rock? As when he was walking past Moshe or Moses and showed him his glory, he had to hide Moshe or Moses in the cleft of the rock. This is what we need to start praying, and also that Yah will wake up our people, right? So it's very important that we also start pulling down these strongholds, these spiritual strongholds, because the enemy is putting attacks. But if Yah is doing the restoration, let's go to it, because we read it in Romans. If we believe in this scripture, we got to start operating in it. It's Romans 8 and see, where was it at? Yeah, Romans 8, and let's go to verse 16. Said the Spirit itself bear witness that with our spirit that we are the children of Yah, and if children, then heirs of Yah, and joint heirs with Mashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of Yah. So listen here. It's saying we are living in that time where Yah wants to start manifesting himself even the more through his people. And if we believe that, the way we're going to initiate that is through fasting and prayer, and putting ourselves out there in our expectations through prayer and fasting to see this stuff happen. That we will speak those things that are not as though they really, and not be none of this hocus pocus that we have been seeing in the last couple of decades, because we was walking in the flesh. I I was in a prayer, and I'm just saying that we really got to start asking Yah to let us see First Corinthians the 12th chapter in action. I just felt that because I was praying. I said, Yah, please let us see this in our communities, not in no churches, not in on that don't let it be, basically that's not let it be televised. Let's see it on the streets. Let's see it in our families. Let's see it in our hospital rooms, where we can actually go to our loved ones hospital rooms, or go to people that we know hospital rooms, and pray for them and see them healed. This will be the great equalizer. When these things happen, then we know that the awakening is real. But this will be the manifestations of the sons of Yah when this stuff happened. Because when Yeshua came the first time, right, and Christ, Yeshua lives in us, and we supposed to be doing greater works like him. This is what should have been being done in the last 2,000 years, but instead we know that the false woman took over the message, and got it and twisted, and that wasn't done. But now that we back on the scene, he said, now this is what you need to do, like what Peter then was doing. They was going out and they wasn't charging anybody, but they was walking down the street, and people was being healed by their shadows, and they wasn't, heaping unto themselves a mail order list or whatever, people to send them donations and all this stuff. That Yah wants to use all his people that believe in him through his son Yeshua, that we will go out in the highways and the byways and be healing people and casting out demons and all this other kind of stuff. And then the revolution would not be televised. It would be a grassroots thing. It would not be up under some big time ministry, but it would be in all believers, but in particularly the Hebrew believers. And that would be the validation, because that would be the manifestation. And that was what was happening up until 325 AD. And the message was encapsulated by the Roman Empire, which was dying. Now the sons of the sons back on the scene. We waking up to who we are, and y'all say, okay, if you my son, and my sons, and you say you have my son in you, we got to start doing these things. Now, will some of them be instantaneous miracles and healings or whatever? Not necessarily. Some of it could be just the fact that some of our people change, they die, and they'll be healed progressively, just from and the miracle will be getting our people off some of the foods that we're eating that's causing us to be sick anyway. But I do believe that we got to see some we got to see some grassroots miracles happening, where people are actually going on the street, casting out devils, healing people, and people being like the man that was in the temple that didn't have no strength in his legs withered up. That when Peter and John said, "Silver and gold have I none, such as I have give at the deep," rise up and walk, and immediately his legs grew muscle tissue, and he was able not just to stand up but to leap real high in the air excitedly. I believe that's the kind of thing that's gonna happen, just like Yeshua when he healed a lot of people. He told them, "Don't go tell nobody, please. Just go home." And they didn't go home. They went and spread it abroad. But I believe that's what's gonna have to start happening. And I gotta believe that we gotta start praying and fasting. That we see that kind of stuff starting now that the 400 years is up, and we believe that the manifestation, meaning Yah is gonna start, is gonna start revealing us that we ain't gonna have to need to be doing debates with no people no more. That is gonna be like Gamaliel. He called the council together and said, listen, let's leave this thing alone, because if it ain't of Yah, it ain't gonna last. But if it is, we're gonna find ourselves fighting against Yah. So let's just leave it alone. That's when it's gonna be stop picking up, and that's what I'm gonna start praying for. I'm not praying for no debates to be won and all these things. You're never gonna get these people whatever to really some people now we understand in history, even when they came out of Egypt the first time, they said that not all the Hebrews came out. Some of them stayed. Some of them stayed, and actually some of them drifted on toward the west part of Africa after Egypt fell. You see, so I'm here to let you know this is what Yah has impressed upon me, because I want to see the manifestation. I don't want to, be cracking people across the head with this stuff, and they not, and it's just another doctrine, and there's another teaching with no power behind it. And when I say power, I mean changing lives or whatever. Not seeing no change in my life, but this is what Yah has impressed upon me. And in fact, Yah has impressed upon me to do a 3 day fast. Now, what I need to decide, is it going to be a complete, or is it going to, because this is how you break the devil's back. This is how you break his back, when you deny yourself and take up your stake and follow him. Talking about Yeshua, the Father, through the Ruach. This is how you break his back. And and we know um uh what happened in the first Exodus, where the people cried unto him, and Yas, say he heard their cry. This is what we need to start doing. We need to start crying. We need to stop praying against their demonic technology. We need to stop praying against their demonic tactics that they're using. We need to pray against their demonic food and water that they put out there, the demonic um, um, entities that have been released out here, that's causing some of our people to commit suicide. Yeah, I do believe that they can use the technology to influence our people, but you gotta be a blank slate in order for them to influence you to get to a certain point in your life where you put yourself out there. Because the statistics might show that normally our people don't do these kinds of things, but if we're living in a time that Yeshua said it would be like as in the days of Noah, what did the Bible say about the days of Noah? That men's thought would only evil continuously. So the devil is just pumping now, as he did then, evil continuous thoughts. And if you're not born again, and you're not born again, and you're not filled with the ruah, he just pumping this stuff into your brain, and you got the phone, and you got the television, you got the newspapers, and all this other stuff that's pumping this stuff into to you. It can overwhelm some people, where they might have that short uh, point where they just let it cause them to go there, and maybe they might shake themselves out of it too late and say, "Hey, let me stop this." I was just looking at a video of some dude going around and scaling skyscrapers in China or whatever, and apparently he got paid $15,000 to scale some kind of skyscraper in China. He's gonna use the money to get married or whatever, and he got up there and was doing his little deal or whatever, and he lost his grip and fell. Now the skyscraper was 67 stories, but I think they said when he fell, he didn't fall all 67 stories, but he did fall 45 feet into a terrace and killed himself. You see what I'm saying? Evil content thoughts, evil can try, because what it said, don't tempt. Yeah, don't tempt him. What did the devil try to tell Yeshua? He said, go to the pinnacle of the temple and cast yourself off, because if you are his son, he'll get his angels to bear you up. You got people doing all this kind of crazy stuff now. Our people are doing this kind of crazy stuff. So we got to put it in full gear. But the only thing is, it needs to be coordinated. We need to get together and coordinate it. We need a combo thing. We need hundreds of thousands of people at one time to start fasting and praying on one concentrated thing and start getting this mountain to start moving. That's what we need to do. The mountain that's cut without hands to to come, praying that thy kingdom come, that will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I mean, just one simple prayer that we could get together and pray just that for 3 days and fast that 3 days. I'm guarantee you there will be exponential acceleration of this thing. So I'm putting this video out, and if anybody gets this video, if you don't look at none of my videos, look at this one, like it, share it, and then you go make a video and you spread it out and say, hey, won't we all that believe that we are the people, even those that might not be going to having their worship services on the Sabbath. I really believe that we should do that. But if you hadn't got that to that point yet, but still that we can pray, I believe that Yah is gonna bring all of us online. I really believe it, because if you know that the majority of the people, black people in Africa, do go to service on the Sabbath. I believe that should be a sign to you right there that Yah made His law, statutes, and commandments for our people, for our benefit. And so I want you to get this, and we need to start concentrating our fasting and prayer and pray against this kingdom. We already see it as crumbling. We need to ask Yah to bring it to a swift end. So that is that what this video was about. That we really need to hit it. I remember when I was part of the Christian church, the last quote unquote Christian church I was in, I got the pastor that I really, out of all the pastors that I ever had, I think he was the most understanding, and I really learned a lot from him. He passed on some years ago, but I remember when I first came there to the church, I was having some difficulties in my life, me and my family, and what me and him started doing, we started praying and fasting, and I told him, I said, yeah, I'm ready to hit it hard, and man, with that prayer and fasting, him praying and fasting, man, you just start seeing things, happening. Um, Unfortunately, I think that what we do is we go strong for a season. What we should do is we should be strategic about it. I don't I don't necessarily want you to say, like one of the denominations that I was in, where they say, oh, you do it every Tuesday and Thursday or whatever. I think that we should do it strategically as we being led by the Yah, because what can happen is it can become a routine. We don't want it to become routine. One of the things that I discovered even before I came into this too, because I studied a little bit about the quote unquote Jewish uh, history, custom, whatever. And one of the things that I did find that they had more feasts than fasts. So Yah only wanted the fast to be done in a time of great peril, whatever, for the people. It wasn't supposed to be an arbitrary thing. And in fact, if you go to the book of Zechariah, where it talks about they was doing, in fact, let me see if I can find it. Okay, Zechariah. Uh, where is it? Uh, okay, here it is. Zechariah 8 and verse 19 said, "Thus saith the Master of Hosts, the fast of the fourth month, and the fast of the fifth, and the fast of the seventh, and the fast of the tenth shall be to the house of you the joy and gladness and cheerful feast. Therefore love the truth and peace. Thus saith the Master of Hosts, it shall yet come to pass that there shall come people and inhabitants of many cities." Okay. And so let's go back. Okay. 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 So, if you read the preceding verses, uh, what happened was Yah had told them, um, all he wanted Jerusalem to be a joyous place, and apparently, what they had been doing is they really didn't want to do what Yah was saying, so they covered it up by doing all these fasts, and they created all these different fasts. They created, like he said, the fast uh, of the fourth month, the fifth month. See, they was doing all these fasts, and Yah was basically, uh, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, actually, yeah, yeah. You had to actually had to go back to the seventh chapter too, because in the seventh chapter of Zechariah, let's turn to that. Here it starts here. It says, um, verse 7 and 3 said, "And speak to the priests which were in the house of the master of hosts, and to the prophets, saying, Should I weep in the fifth month, separating myself as I have done these so many years? Then came the word of the master of hosts, saying unto me, Speak unto all the people of the land, and to the priests, saying, When ye fast and mourn in the fifth and seventh month, even those 70 years, did ye at all fast unto me, even to me? And when you did eat, and when you did drink, did you not eat for yourselves and drink for yourselves? Hear ye now, hear not, not hear not. Should ye not hear the words which the master had cried by the former prophet when Jerusalem inhabited and in prosperity? And basically, what he was saying was, when they was in the captivity, they started developing this pattern of fasting on certain months or whatever, because they was trying to show, yeah, oh, we're so sorry that we're in the state we're in, so we're gonna make these mandatory fasts. that we're gonna do to show you. And Yah was basically like, I don't want you to fast so much. I want you to do right. I want you to understand why you in this situation, and not and understand that when you had prosperity, but you didn't do right. And so what happened was they continued these fasts after they got back in the land, and we know that they were still being disobedient from what they was doing. Y'all was like, stop doing the fast. Just like when you was in the land, you was just using it as a cover. You was still gonna do what you gonna do, but you said, well, yeah, at least I did fast. He said, forget the fasting. And you can see that in Isaiah where he said, "You fast for controversy and everything." He said, "Get rid of those fasts, and I want feast. I want joyousness. I want to hear children playing. I want to hear people uh, uh, drinking wine they made off of the grapes of their vineyard. Because I'm going to make this place plenteous. Because if you know anything about the period after they came back from Babylon, eventually the temple did get built, and a lot of the people did return, and Jerusalem was rebuilt. And we know that even though the Greeks and the Romans had came in and took control of the land, the people were still growing, and I know how massive the temple was when Yeshua was alive. And so Yah was like, stop with all this. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. Let's not get into the a religious thing of, okay, that's just, unless you choose, unless Yah tell you to do it. But don't let's not get into that, because it become routine. But if it's not, we're not changing the way we do anything. That the fast is supposed to cause you to change. So let's do it strategically. But what I'm saying is, we all need to come together on a designated time and have a designated thing that we fast and pray about. Now, if you, like I say, you want to do it as the Most High leads you, I would say that. But if we all naturally say, well, let's just do this every Tuesday and Thursday, I don't think we should do that, because it becomes routine and people say, let me get it over with. I believe that we should do it as we're being led, because Yah said, I really want you to be feasting more than fasting. And I want to be of the opinion that we've been um, suffering as a people for so long, and if Yah's making a manifestation of us coming out, that is going to be that we don't really have to pray and fast and stuff, because it's not like we haven't been doing it. We have been fasting and praying and doing a lot of this stuff. I want to believe that we'll have to just do less and less and less, and that Yah is going to abundantly start blessing us and showing it, and that his blessings are not going to add no sorrow to us, because they're going to come from us. I'm believing that we are going to start living under the blessings of Deuteronomy 28 1 through 14, and that the curses of Deuteronomy 28 15 through 68 is going to be upon our oppressors. That's what I want to believe. And that, yeah, I'm going to fast and pray, but I'm going to do it strategically, because I see the enemy popping his head up. But that I want to rejoice, because what did Yeshua say? He said, look up and rejoice, because your redemption is nigh than when you first believed. So how can I look up and be joyous if I'm always fasting, and it's making me weak, and I'm holding my head down? Not that we, like I said, that if Yah has something that he's calling you to do what that you want to do, but I'm saying that's not make it a mandatory thing where it's a set day, because then we can get into the same habit that the people was in their captivity in Babylon and actually wasn't doing right, and then they carried that over when they got back to the land, and Yah had to tell them to stop doing it. He said it's a time for feasting, not for fasting. So that's all we got today. Um, Again, like, share, make a comment, and subscribe. Be blessed.